Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the man cave. I'm having a little bit of a minor audio problem here. Hopefully, going to get that sorted out. Nope, I'm not. Dadgum. All right, Jeff, can you hear me?
Yep,
Hang on. Try that again.
I can hear you.
All right, I've got an audio problem here. Hang on. How about now?
I can hear you.
Oh, goodness. Let's see. Well, I just all of a sudden got no audio here. Oh, Lord, what have I done? I've lost control of my volume. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Having technical difficulty. I don't know what's going on. Okay. All right. I can't hear anything, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna have to do to fix it.
Can you hear me now? Answer Anthony's question. Yeah, Anthony, we came through unscathed. Life is good.
Jeff, you guys hang tight. I'm gonna have to restart right here. I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
So
So welcome to the Jeff and Tanya show.
Hey Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Tanya.
Fantastic. So I'm glad to hear that you didn't have as much flooding.
It got crazy there for a while this morning. I think it was an hour and a half, and the water rose 3+ feet.
Mm-mm-mm. Hey Andrew, he's hanging out in Mississippi.
So anyway, glad to see everybody here tonight. Glad everybody's well. Hope everybody that was down in the wake of the hurricane made it through okay with little or no damage. Hopefully, no damage.
Yeah, that's definitely good. This is Lily. She is my assistant professor.
So, tell me about the other kitten that showed up over there at your dad's
Oakland?
house. Yeah, did he just mysteriously show up all of a sudden, or did you know
Yeah,
that he's been around?
he just kind of showed up, and all of a sudden was hanging out, and he looks so much like Socks. And
He does.
today he got close to Dad.
Mm,
So Dad has been working on trying to get him tamed too.
cool.
Oh, it looks like Josh might be coming back up.
all right. Sorry about that. I can hear you now.
Cool.
All right.
So you heard
So
us talking about you then. Darn.
no, I've got a weird problem that when I use my keyboard to control my volume, sometimes my volume will run all the way down and it won't let me run it back up. And the only way I know how to fix it is to reboot. So there we go. Anyway, I hope everybody's had a good week. I'm trying to get everything back up to where I was ready to go here. Just a moment. So Jeff has been playing in the rain uh, this week.
And I haven't been singing.
Oh boy. Let's see here. I'm getting close. All right. Anyway, we're gonna have a drink. I hope everybody else is Y'all having a drink with me tonight?
Absolutely, I need one.
What are you having, Jeff?
I'm just having some Jack number 7
I'm going
because I'm
to,
tired. I'm afraid if I have any of the heavier stuff, I
yeah,
may just fall asleep.
I'm gonna have a little Knob Creek tonight. It's been a hectic week around here. I haven't gotten a lot done. I've actually been so busy, I haven't got a lot of cooking done. So, yeah, Anthony, I'm sure Operation Barbecue Relief will be running full force down in Florida this week. Jeff, have you heard or seen anything of them?
Nope, not a thing.
Okay.
If they do come down, hopefully they'll go down in the Fort Myers area. That's the area that was really just devastated. I mean, wow.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Mm, mm, good stuff.
They're saying your
Yeah,
echo is bad, John.
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing the echo, but I don't know what I can do about it. Uh, one moment.
That cat is your little sidekick. He just goes everywhere with you. He'd probably follow you to school. I see the lips moving, but there's no sound.
How about now?
I can hear you.
How's this? Is this any better?
See, you don't have an echo to me, John, so I don't know what other people are hearing.
Echo.
Tanya, do you hear? Do I have a problem?
I don't think so.
I'm hearing an echo, so I don't know what's going on. So it's it's just a little like a little bit of a delay. So all right. Well, anyway, Tanya, we'll bring you back a little bit later. Thanks. And Jeff, let's see here. We got a few pictures. If I can bring them up. Uh, I had everything ready to go before my audio went crazy. All right. This is what Jeff's been doing this week.
Yep, I packed up all my babies and put them away. And then after I did that, I realized, hey, dummy, you got a cook you got to do. So the bark is all the way back there in the very back. I had to pull it back out.
Right. So you had brought everything inside to ride the storm out.
Absolutely. Got to take care of the babies.
Okay, Jeff, are you using earbuds tonight?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually still hearing. I'm hearing feed. I don't know if it's feeding back from you or from me.
Well, other people said that I'm not echoing. It's only you. So I'm.
Okay. Anyway, you cooked a pork loin this week.
Yep. I went over to Costco and got 2 pork loins. There was $4 off per package. So I got 2 pork loins for like $10 and change.
You bought the whole loin.
I would have, but I was afraid that lose power. I don't want to lose that kind of meat.
Yeah. So what'd you do with this one?
That one there, I put marinated in the Sweetwater butts and ribs marinade,
Mm-hmm.
and then put the Man Cave AP Mojo and some Myron Mix and Hickory on it,
Right.
and put her on there for. I think I was running about 200, and let her ride until she hit 133, and I pulled it.
Man, those grill grates look awful clean. What did you do? Did you
I keep them.
sandblast those things?
Oh man, I keep them clean.
Oh boy. That's guys, I'm ashamed because that's cleaner than I keep mine, and I keep my grill grates pretty clean. I don't keep them shiny. I just keep them free of buildup.
Well, I think one of the things is, John, is I use that method there, which helps keep them clean as well, because I
Hmm.
like to collect all my juices.
So this is your finished product.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
It's got a
looks
nice
pretty
smoke
good.
ring. It came out really nice. Yeah, Gerald, that's my mixing bark.
Let's see here. Jarrell's with us. Glad you could make it in, Jarrell. They don't have hurricanes in Texas except for Jarrell. That's the only hurricane I know of in Texas.
Well, his daughter is going to Savannah College, and I guess they cleared it. Told everybody to get out of there.
Yeah, that looks good, Jeff. I like pork loin, and Tanya likes pork loin. That's one of the things I can cook that Tanya usually enjoys. So
Anthony says he likes the cutting board. Well, Anthony, take a look at the cutting board real close. Look at
I
the
remember
left
that
hand
one.
side and then look at the right hand side. The guy
Yeah,
botched it.
yeah. It was one of those boards that had the 3D effect, the way the blocks were laid in.
Yeah. Kind of like Cupid, and then all of a sudden it
Yeah,
got messed up.
Hubert. Oh boy, heck yeah. I don't guess you cooked anything else this week.
Nah, that was it. We were, like I said, preparing for the hurricane, trying to get everything battened down.
Well, I likewise didn't do a lot of cooking this week. I got a nice little harvest of peppers the other day that I haven't done anything with yet, but my ghost pepper's starting to really put out some heat, and my habanero is looking real good too. I love habanero, and I'm happy to be getting the yield I'm getting off of those this year. Jeff, I want you to do me a favor right quick.
What's that?
Mute your mic for a second. Okay, testing. Okay, turn it back on. That I'm getting echo back through you somehow or another because it goes away when your mic goes off. Are you sure your audio is not coming out of your external speaker?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Well, hang on a second. Let's make sure it's not coming out of both. Talk.
Okay, testing one, two. Test, test,
No,
test.
no, it's only
Okay,
coming out of my earbud.
I don't know what's going on, man. I can only hear it when actually now I'm not hearing it, so maybe it quit. Are you with us, Jeff?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure what's going on there, but anyway, I got a nice little haul of jalapenos, habaneros, and ghosts this week. But today or this week, what I've done cooking wise is I've I prepared a whole bunch of pulled pork for some friends. Uh, I had 5 pork butts, and this was the biggest one out of the batch. This one weighed about 13 and third pounds. It's one of the biggest pork butts I've ever had. It's really hard to come across these guys that are this big, and I actually had 2 of them that weighed 13 plus pounds. And I made a little video. I made video of this that I haven't edited yet, but this will hopefully be my video that I publish this week. I'm doing I did a video showing our technique, Jeff, the 12 hours in the smoke and then 2 to 3 hours to finish it because this technique is repeatable every time, and you can do it on if you've got you can do it on any kind of smoker as long as you can if you can control the temperature, if you can keep your temp at around 200 degrees for a long period of time. This method's amazing, and I've done this on the pellet grill and on the Kamados, so it works really well.
That's a solid. I think that's one of our more solid cooks. It's very dependable. You know exactly when it's going to be done. There's no
Yeah,
guessing.
but I've scored this one just like I've been doing, been scoring the top and the bottom. Yeah, Anthony, that's a big one for sure. Uh, this is the same butt that I had in the other picture, but I went to my larger prep tub for it because the smallest of the prep tubs just wasn't quite big enough for that one. And I used my Man Cave Magic number 2 rub on these. And here's all 5 of them seasoned up, ready to go. This was approximately 54 pounds before it was cooked. And I tossed these on the bark last night at about 9, somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock at 200 degrees. And I rolled back out there this morning, 12 hours later, and this is what we looked like. The color looked pretty good. So I pulled them all off and I put them in foil pans instead of wrapping tightly this time. Jarrell, I'm not feeding anybody. I've got a large group of friends that have sideline contracted me to make some pulled pork for them. So uh, this stuff's all sold. And so I foiled those up, put them back on, and ramped the temp up to 300. And about 2.5 hours, everything was ready. And this is what I had when I was done. And these guys were actually so tender, Jeff. I had trouble getting them out of the pan without them falling apart on me.
Yeah, that's the way that last one was that I did. That's why
Yeah.
what you see me pulling, if you remember the video, half of it was still in the pan, and that's
Right.
because when I pulled it up, it stayed there.
Well, I was able to get, that big wide spatula that I've got. I
Mhm.
was able to get it up underneath these enough to get them lifted out, but they were still falling apart when I was trying to put them in the foil. So I wrapped those up and put them in foil and put them in my cooler. I bought a new cooler to use for uh, rested meat, so I'm not messing with my Yetis anymore on that. I bought a $25. I think it's a Coleman, and it's a
That's what I
48
used.
quart. It's a 48 quart Coleman,
Yeah.
and I was able to get all 5 of these butts in there, and still had a little bit of room left over. And I rested them for about 2 or 2.5 hours, and of course the bone yanks out perfectly clean, and I've got beautiful pulled pork. And also, if you notice, all that liquid that I collected in the pan, I saved most of that because after I rested these and pulled them apart, when I put these guys in vacuum sealed bags, I packaged these up in 1 pound bags, and I put a couple of tablespoons of that rendering back in the bag with it. And this stuff was beautiful. It was as good as any pulled pork I've ever made, and I'm totally stoked with this method. Uh, I don't know what much. I don't know if there's much more I could do to improve it. Now, that being said, Jeff, I did do something here that I don't normally do. I let those go to 208. They were about 208 when I pulled them off.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and everything was nice. Everything went really well. So, Beth, the bag quantity, I'm not sure because one of my people that wanted these wanted them packaged up smaller than I had offered to package them, and I packaged her. She bought 3 pounds, and she got 14 bags the way she wanted hers packaged up, and I think I've probably got 24 or 25 1 pound bags beyond that. Uh, I've got half of that vacuum sealed. I haven't got it all vacuum sealed yet. It's all in vacuum sealed bags, but it's still cooling. I can't I can't run the chamber sealer until that stuff's cooled. You can't put hot stuff, or you shouldn't put hot stuff in your chamber sealer. But speaking of chamber sealers, somebody last week asked me something about that. Let's see, Janice has got a question right quick. Had a lot of dark meat. No, Janice, the pork shoulder. Uh, I've seen color striations in pork shoulders before, but typically a pork shoulder is fairly dark colored. Uh, let me go back to the original picture here and see how mine might have compared to what you had there. This the meat itself is all fairly dark in terms of a dark red color, but the light colored stuff in there is just your intramuscular fat. Um, Jeff, have you had butts that have had lighter color meat than that?
No, that's typically the color that my butts are.
Now, I have seen darker than this. When you start looking at the Berkshire pork and the Cheshire pork, the heritage breeds, that meat tends to be darker red than this, like the heritage farm stuff. And Anthony, I do not sauce it before I package it. I just don't, because there's too many people, including myself, that may or may not want that on it. Uh, I use sauce sometimes, but sometimes I don't. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm making a sandwich out of that pulled pork, I might put something like, I might put coleslaw on it. I might put pickles on it. I might put my candied or my pickled onions on it. And I may or may not want sauce. So I don't do that. And that, yeah, this is extremely probe tender. Like I was saying, that pork was so tender when I got to the when I was ready to take it out of these pans. Uh, I was having trouble getting it out of the pans without it just falling apart from trying to lift it out of there. It's and also, Jeff, that scoring that I do doesn't help that. That scoring makes it
Yeah.
easier for that meat to fall apart on you when you try to move it when it's done. I don't
Yep.
normally cook in pans, but I think you did this the other week, and I'm thinking I might start, and I might just do it. I might just put them in the pan, start to finish. In fact, I've done that before, and in Myron Mixon's, in Myron Mixon's second cookbook that he put out quite a while back, it's called Everyday Barbecue. It's a Myron Mixon book called Everyday Barbecue. His pork butt technique in that book is, in fact, you cook the pork butts in a pan, start to finish, and they're cooked at 300 degrees. And that was the very, I think that may have been the first time I ever cooked pork butt completely in a pan. But these didn't go in the pan till after the 12-hour mark. And these guys were somewhere between, the larger ones were somewhere between 150 and 155 degrees internal when I went to the pan. They weren't as deep into the bark as I would normally go. But this bark looked pretty good, but this is not the bark that I'm typically capable of. And I think if I do this again, I will cook them direct, do the whole cook in the pan, and just leave them in the pan and not cover them till I'm up around 170. Because when these pork butts get up around 170 after 12 hours, after 12 hours, I would still ramp my temp up no matter where the bark was, but I wouldn't foil it until that bark got a little bit darker. And Mike, I don't sell to anybody but friends. So, and I have only, this is the first time I've ever done that. And I don't know if I should really discuss, it's a bargain. It's a lot cheaper than you would get it from anybody else that's producing pulled pork. Yes, Scott, they get plenty of smoke in the pan. I can't tell that there's any difference at all. The pan doesn't affect that. The the I cook fat cap down on mine, so you're only getting the fat cap's the only thing that's really interfacing with the pan and the liquid that collects in the pan, and that liquid actually helps cook these things kind of evenly. It does a pretty good job. So what do you think, Jeff? We like
Hey,
that
look,
technique.
that's my go-to technique, John. You and I have been doing that for quite a while. The only difference between what you and I are doing is I put a rack on top of the pan so I can collect the little bit of juices that you get between
Mhm.
the time that you put it on and the time
Well,
that you foil it, which
that would
really
be
isn't
something
that
else I
much,
could
but
do.
it's just what
Yeah,
I do.
I could get some pans that have racks in them. And if I was just doing a single bud, I could do it in a regular roasting pan and do it on a roasting rack. That way, the air can circulate completely around the meat.
Well, I just picked up some of those non-stick cookie cooling racks. That's what I
Hmm.
use,
Yeah,
and I just put it right on top, let her go. It works
I
great.
just I've got several racks similar to that, but man, I hate cleaning those things up. They're a pain in the butt to clean.
Spray it with Pam first, and
Yeah,
then I use that Dawn spray cleaner. Let it sit
yeah.
for 5-10 minutes. Take a little scrub brush to it, and it's clean.
And I'm not sure what Janice is talking about the Chud video. I'm not familiar with that. He puts the foil boat. Yeah, Janice, this would be this in all for hey Tanya, I gotta get Tanya here for a second. Tanya, for all intensive purposes, this cooking in a pan is just like cooking. Your mic's off.
I'm glad you specifically said that.
Specifically, yes. Okay, we'll bring you back in a
Pacifically.
bit. That's a little running joke with me and Tanya. For all intensive purposes and for very Pacific reasons. So yeah, the uh, the foil boat. This would be a foil boat method if you just didn't cover the pan with foil. That's basically what you're getting. I've done the foil boat method on a brisket, and I don't know that I would get any different result if I didn't just cook the brisket in a pan. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a major difference. And Brewster, I go to 300 degrees at the 12-hour mark, whether I'm ready to foil it or not. Jeff, you do the same. Do you do that, or do you wait till you foil it to go to 300?
Foil it and go to 300.
Yeah, I run to 300 at the 12-hour mark, whether I'm ready to foil it or not. And typically, if I'm not ready to foil it, I'm ready to foil it within a half an hour to 45 minutes after I go to 300 because I'll be happy with where the bark is. And Brewster, it's all about you got to use your eye. It's using your eyes. Look at that bark. Are you happy with it? And when you're happy with the bark, it's time to wrap it. Uh, if you're going to wrap, I know a lot of people. Uh, don't like rapping, and that's fine if you don't like rapping. But I have gone both ways a lot of times, and I am solidly in the camp of I like the results better when I wrap it. I think it's more tender, and I don't like a tough leathery bark, and that's what I tend to end up with. If I let the whole cook go at 225 and let it go 16 or 18 hours, I might be okay with it. Matt, if you want to brine a pork butt, that's such a huge cut of meat. If you're not going to brine it for a week or 10 days, it's not worth doing, I don't think. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm in total agreement. I mean, that thing is just a huge fat piece of meat that it's an overnight brine. You might as well forget. You're only going to get
You're going to get
maybe
maybe
an inch into it.
an inch to a half of an inch in on that. This isn't pork butt's not like chicken. The chicken will brine. Chicken and poultry brine quickly. You can brine completely whole birds in 1 hour per pound is typically the go-to for that. But pork and beef aren't the same way. The texture of the meat's entirely different. So, uh, but somebody asked me last week. I don't remember who it was. Since we're talking about vacuum sealing, they wanted me to talk about vacuum sealing and do another whole episode on vacuum sealers. But I don't think I've got enough content. But one of the specific questions that was asked was uh, maintenance-free pumps versus the pumps that require oil. And I've had both, and I'm currently on one that you have to change the oil out in the pump periodically. And I use my vacuum sealer a lot more than most people do. And I like to change my oil once every 6 months or so. And it takes me 15 minutes to change the oil. I just have to unscrew the case, lift the case up. There's an oil drain plug in there. I undo that plug and get a pail underneath it and let it run out, just like you'd be changing oil in a car. Close it back up and then put new oil in the top. And there's a little sight window on the side of these pumps where you run it till the oil level's halfway up in the sight window and you're good to go. And the oil is cheap. You can buy it on Amazon, and I bought a 32-ounce bottle of that, and I think this thing only holds 6 ounces, maybe 8 ounces of oil. It doesn't hold a lot of oil, but uh, from all I've been told and all I've read, the maintenance-free motors aren't quite as strong as these oil pump motors are. So I don't know the details on that. Jeff, do you know anything about them?
No, you're the The vacuum seal, man. I just have
Yeah.
the Magic Vac from Italy, and that does a fantastic job.
But my overall answer is buy whatever vacuum sealer you like and whichever one's in the price range you want to spend, because even if it's just a food saver, it's something you need. You need it desperately, in my opinion. The food saver just didn't work for me because of the amount of vacuum sealing I do. Like on this pulled pork project, I've got, you know, 40 bags total, close to it, that I'm gonna vacuum seal. And the food saver heats up, and it doesn't have a duty cycle that's conducive to doing a whole lot of bags at once, especially if you're cutting rolled bags and have to seal one end of your bag up before you put anything in it to seal the other end. I was constantly having to wait on the food saver to cool. If you're just going to do two or three or four things in a row at a time, the food saver is the right tool, or a right tool. It works fine. But when you get into some of the volume that I do, the food saver is not a very good solution. And I'm going through somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 to 1,250 bags a year. I know that's a lot, man. I vacuum seal everything, and if you're doing that kind of volume, you probably want to consider a chamber sealer also, because the bag cost for the chamber sealers is a lot less than it is on a food saver. The food saver bags, even when you buy the off-brand bags on a roll, you're still looking at 20 cents a bag on an average bag size, and more on a larger bag. The most common size bag I use here is an 8 by 10, and those bags cost me a nickel a piece when I buy 1,000 at a time, and that's uh, that compared to 20 or 25 cents a piece. If I'm saving 20 cents a piece on 1,000 bags, that's how much money is that add up to, Jeff?
If you're doing what?
20 cents on at 1,000. So it would be
$22.
yeah. Is that all I'm saving in bags? I thought I was saving more than that. Maybe not. The
Let me
larger
check my math here.
Yeah, you're probably right. 20 cents on 1,000. So yeah, that'd be right. $20. But the quality of the seal's a lot better, and the quality of the vacuum's a lot better as well. So it you're not going to make your money back, I don't guess, in bag savings, but it's I really love having the chamber sealer. And I've got this JVR Industries VAC 100 that I love, and JVR Industries did provide me with that one. And Honorock says it's $200, 1,000. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It is $200. So on a thousand bags, uh, I'm saving $200 a year on just bag cost. So over 3 or 4 years, I'm saving, $600 or $800, and I'm looking at a $900 vacuum sealer. So I'm potentially gonna break even on a $900 model. There are chamber sealers out there that are less expensive than this VAC 100. And if you want to see mine, there's a review of it I did on the Man Cave Meals YouTube channel. If you go search for vacuum sealers on my channel, you'll find it. And yeah, Scott, you can't really effectively, well, you can vacuum seal liquids in a channel sealer, but you just have to watch it, and you have to cut it off before it sucks the liquid up into the channel. And also, when you're vacuum sealing liquids, it's not critical at all that you get all the air out of the bag, because you can't really freeze or burn a liquid. You're not really going to gain much of anything by, if you've got an air bubble in your vacuum sealed bag of liquid, it's not a big deal. You're not going to hurt anything if you're freezing it. So, Mike, I have the JVR Industries VAC 100, VAC 100, and I'm really happy with that. There's a lot to choose from now. There's a lot more to choose from in the vacuum sealer world, but I am a huge fan of the chamber sealer. It's another one of these things that I would classify as a really right tool. Uh, it's something that I wouldn't want to do without at this point. This is the third vacuum sealer the third channel sealer I've had. It's the only one that's been provided to me. I bought the first two that I had. Now I like this one way better than the first two that I bought. So, Jeff, you want to take Anthony's question on knife sharpening? What do you do?
Unmute. Tanya keeps muting me. uh, First of all, I'm going to tell you a lot of amateurs sharpen their knives more than they need to sharpen them. There's such a thing as called a steel. If you don't have one, get one because you don't have to put your knife on any type of sharpener that often. That being said, which one do I have now, John? I've got the one on the belt. That's the
Well,
Toolworks.
you've got that Edge Pro that I sent you that's a
Right.
manual one, but you've got the did you buy the Work Sharp?
Yeah, the workshop. That's what it is.
Hmm.
I like the workshop. I also like the manual one. I like the manual one only because I can control the edge. You're getting a little bit better. The workshop, it's a spinning belt, so you really got to be careful and keep your flow going good. But like I say, a lot of people, amateurs sharpen their knives too much.
Hmm.
Um, Use the steel.
Well, the steel, first of all, is a great idea. I've got one in my block over there. The steel is not a sharpener, but it's a tool that will help you keep a sharp knife sharp. And every time I pull a knife out of my block, I hit it two swipes on each side with the steel, and that helps keep it sharp. Um,
Just straightens the edge.
I am I don't know what I'm going to call myself here when it comes to having the sharpening tool. Jeff, what word am I looking for? And you don't have to be nice.
Your anal retentive on your
Okay,
sharpening device.
I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm a sharpening snob. Uh, I've had a lot of fancy sharpening tools, and there are some inexpensive ones I think that work really well. That that work sharp Ken Onion, that's the belt drive one. That thing works pretty good for an inexpensive sharpener. I've sharpened a lot of knives with one of those and gotten fairly good results with it. Uh, it can be a little tedious to use because you have to change the belts and go through three or four different coarsenesses of belts to really do a good job on the sharpening. But that thing is, I'm wanting to say it's around $119. Is that about right, Jeff? You remember what that one costs?
I thought I paid less than that, but I may
It
be
may have
wrong.
been. Uh, I'll look it up. I don't remember.
I'm looking it up now.
Ken Onion Work Sharp with the belts, and it does a pretty good job. And if I was going to stay, that's about on the low end. That's about as low as I would want to go because I've used that one. It does a pretty good job. And Ken Onion or Work Sharp's got a new one out or a newer one out that's a little less expensive, but it's manual. And Jeff, it works on the same principle as that Edge Pro, and it's called the Precision Adjust. I think it's called the Work Sharp Precision Adjust or something like that, where you're working on one side of the blade, you change the wrinkle, then you flip the blade and work on the other side. I've got one of those. I bought one to try it out. It is my go-to for my pocket knives, for my everyday carry knives. I use it. That thing doesn't work as well on the longer blades that I'm using in the kitchen. It just doesn't work well enough to suit me on the long blades.
Those type there, I don't think I don't like them for anything over 8 inches.
Right, and I don't even like going for 8 inches on them. The I like the 3 and 4 inch range that I'm using for my pocket knives on those. Most of my pocket knives have 3 and 3/4 inch blades on them, and they're beautiful. I can put nasty sharp edges on my pocket knives with that thing, and I really like it. But for kitchen knives, I went ahead. I made a video on it when I got it. It's been I don't think it's been a year yet, but I bought the Tormek T2, and that thing is amazing. But It's either $6.99 or $7.99. I don't remember what I paid for it now, but it was one or the other. And I still want to get the coarser grinding wheel. It comes with the mid-range. I think it's a 600 grit wheel, if I remember correctly. And the sharp blade fetish. Yes, that's absolutely correct. I hate a dull knife worse than anything else in my kitchen. Uh,
I'd rather be cut with a sharp one than a dull one any day.
well, dull knives are dangerous. I
Hmm.
don't want to. I don't want to mess with them. I've cut myself before, but I've never cut myself with a sharp knife. That sounds weird, but it's true. You're never struggling with a blade that's sharp. And this Tormek T2, there's a video of that on my Man Cave Meals Facebook page and YouTube channel as well. If you do a search for Tormek, Tormek on my channel, you'll find that. And it's a professional grade tool. Now, that being said, Tormek makes a home version of that same system. It's about half the price. And the only drawback of the home version of that is you can't change out the grinding wheels for a coarser or a finer wheel. You use that one wheel that comes with it, and most of the time that's okay. If you're only doing your knives with it, that's perfect because you'll never let your knife get dull enough to where you need a coarser wheel to sharpen it. When I got this one, I picked up some knives around from friends and family that were so dull I had to spend 15 minutes with it or so on that grinding wheel to get it. And if I had the coarser stone or the coarser wheel, it would have made quick work of it. And I'm still going to buy one. I'm going to get the coarser wheel, but those wheels are $250 a piece just for the wheel. So I'm going to get the coarser one. But look at the Tormek if you want something that I think is high end. And I think Brian just mentioned the Wicked Edge. I had a Wicked Edge. I had a WE130 kit, and I like that. That's a very nice sharpener, but I still don't like it as well as I like the Tormek for sharpening my kitchen knives. And what I did is I sold my Wicked Edge kit to put towards buying the Tormek. And so I had the Wicked Edge, and I like it. I don't like it as much as I like the Tormek. And but the Wicked Edge, if you've got a lot of different styles of knives you want to sharpen that aren't kitchen knives, if you want to be able to have one unit that'll be real good at kitchen knives, real good at your pocket knives, and real good at everything else, the Wicked Edge is a good thing to look at. It's quite a powerful tool, and it's expensive to get the kit and get everything you're really going to want with it. You're going to be somewhere between $800 and $900 probably to get all the different levels of polishing that you might want for kitchen cutlery. I don't think it makes much sense to use anything finer than somewhere between 600 and 1,000 grit. I don't need mirror smooth bevels on my edges of my kitchen knives. In fact, I want my kitchen knives to have a little bit of bite. I like my pocket knives to have that nice mirrored edge because it's just cool. I don't know that it's not giving me any kind of real benefit. It's sharp, and but there's a difference between sharpness and the ability to cut. I've learned. You
Yep.
can have a pocket knife. When I sharpen my pocket knives, I'm putting a 24-degree bevel on both sides. It's a lot more obtuse angle than I have on my kitchen knives. My kitchen knives, I'm working everything I've got here with a 15-degree bevel on both sides, and they're both sharp. You can when the kitchen knife and the pocket knife are sharp, I can slide it up my arm and shave hair off with either one of them. But if you've ever tried to cut a carrot with a pocket knife that's got a 24-degree bevel and a thicker blade, it's not very good at cutting a carrot or a potato. It won't slide through that but that's not what they're designed to do. So I don't know if you needed one tool that's really good at everything. I think the Wicked Edge and similar systems that work on that same principle are the right way to go. Maybe it all
The
depends
Ken
on
Onion's 139, John.
the Ken Onion one with the belts.
Yeah, 139 now.
$39.
It's gone up from what I
Everything's
paid.
gone up. Mine was less than $100 when I bought it. I'm pretty sure it
I'm
may
thinking I paid 89 for mine,
yeah,
but
but
I
everything's
can't be
gone
100%
crazy.
sure.
Yeah. So that Edge Pro Apex that you have, Jeff, works on the exact same principle as the Wicked Edge, but you're only
Yep.
working on one side of the blade at a time. The Wicked Edge gives you the advantage of being able to work both sides of the blade. And guys,
Right.
the Wicked Edge demo is on my Man Cave Mills YouTube channel also. If you want to see that sharpener in action, there's video content out there on that as well.
You have to have
And
coordination to use that one, though.
you got to be careful with that one also. That's a dangerous tool. It's almost like using a mandolin, because you're running your hands up there parallel to that blade, and that's how you cut yourself, is sliding the blade. You got to be careful. In fact, I actually recommend wearing cut-proof gloves when you're working with something like a Wicked Edge, but uh, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you'll slice your hand open using a Wicked Edge. You got to be careful with it. That's why I like the Tormek. I've got little to no chance of cutting myself with the Tormek unless I'm trying to do it blindfolded. And in fact, I discovered last night when I was prepping those pork butts that my Victorinox boning and fillet knife is getting a little dull. I'm going to need to sharpen that one soon, even though I do hit it. But guys, my knives get more action than the average kitchen knife. Jeff, you've got knives. You've got a favorite knife, I'm sure, in your block that requires more attention than the rest of them. So I've been real happy, by the way, with these Victorinox. I've decided to stop drooling so much over the expensive blades. So I bought,
Expensive blades are nice. They're pretty, but I'll be honest, John. You take a good old Dexter and put an edge on it. It's as good as anything in the drawer.
well, I don't mind. I don't mind as much if I knock a $40 chef's knife off my table onto the kitchen floor. But when I do that with a $250 or $400 knife, I'm not so happy about it. Those knives are pretty, but I'm really, really impressed with the 40 some dollar chef's knife that I bought from Victorinox. It cuts great too. It's got a nice thin blade. Yeah, all right. We talked about Kramer. I like Kramer. They're beautiful, and that particular knife, I still don't have a knife in my possession that's got that geometry, and I want one. I want one so badly, because that's the only knife that really fits my sausage fingers so that I can get up in there and not rack my knuckles underneath the bolster. But it's the cheapest knife I've found that's got that shape is still $200, and I'm going to work around it. I'm not going to succumb to the Kramer prices. That knife. There's two versions of those are the Zwilling Kramers. They're not the Kramer handmade stuff. It's the mass produced Kramers that I was looking at, but still they're 350 and 450. They're expensive. They're beautiful. They're nice, but I'm just not going to go there. If I ever stumble across a knife that's got that same shape though, that's less than $100, I'll have one.
Right, a rock.
Yeah, I've just not seen any. There's the company that makes that thing called the pepper cannon, that aircraft grade aluminum pepper mill that when you turn it, you get a lot more pepper output. Have you seen the ads for that thing, Jeff?
No, I have not seen that.
The company is called Man Kitchen, MANN Kitchen. It's all one word. They've got a knife that's shaped like the Kramer I like, but it's $200. Yeah, Ryan loves his Shoons. His Shoon's a good knife. I've got several Shoons, and they're good. I've had some issues. I've had a handful of issues with the Shoons that I've had. The steel in the Shoons is incredibly brittle. Brewster, the Kai Pro, I think in terms of usability and longevity, is probably better than the Shun. They make Shun. That's the company that makes Shun, and the Kai Pro is a very good quality and very reasonably priced uh, everyday grade knife. I've got several of those here. In fact, the cleavers, I've got two cleavers that when I want to use meat cleavers for chopping pork barbecue or something, I whip two of those guys out and go to work on it. And they're very good quality. Um, they just don't have the maybe the eye appeal is the only thing that the Kai Pro line doesn't have. The Shuns are designed to be pretty. They're designed to be eye catching, and they are. The they're beautiful. They are. That Miyabi that I have is the only knife I've got that's prettier than any of the Shuns. You've seen my Miyabi, Jeff. I've got
Yep.
two of those Miyabis with the birchwood handles, and they're absolutely gorgeous. Uh, I put it away. I put the Miyabi away for a while. I'm letting it rest while I get the feel for these Victorinox knives. So let's wake Tanya up because we're gonna be wrapping up here shortly. Wake up, Tanya.
You're muted.
Are you awake?
There you are.
There we go.
Just have to take a little bit. I'm tired.
Tanya's been busy this week too.
I had to go back to my former place of employment for a conference today.
Yeah.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, it was. But I'm going to be in Hickory. I got a bunch of errands I've got to run down there all day tomorrow. I'm going to be busy tomorrow too. So I'm hoping next week. I'm hoping to make some chili. We talked about chili before. I've got most of what I need to make a big batch of homemade chili, and I might just make this chili on the bark. Yeah, I haven't decided. Yeah, I usually make my chili on the Kamado Joe's, but I might just throw a Dutch oven on the
Nothing
bark.
wrong with that.
I really need for chili. I really need a bigger Dutch oven.
Well, Dutch ovens in my house is not an issue, as you're well aware of.
I guess I could just do two Dutch ovens. Why couldn't I? I could do that because I want to make enough where Tanya and I love chili. We especially love this chili. Uh, I'll probably make Guinness chili.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm thinking about getting Costco's got brisket flats. Thinking about getting a brisket flat and doing it in the doing it as a brisket bomb.
Brian, I like the GI metal pizza peels. Uh, the For the classic, you need to make sure that your pizza peel is no wider than 14 inches because I think the opening on the Dojo, the pizza stone on the classic's only 15 inches wide, and the opening on the Dojo is not any bigger than that. I don't think so. 14 inches is where you're going to want to be on a peel, and Alpha, the new peels that Alpha has out, they've got a 14-inch wide peel that you can make whatever length you need it to be. That one would work. The GI metal, I've got both, and I like perforated peels because I like to pick my pizza up with
Definitely.
it, and I like to shuffle the pizza on the peel a little bit to rake. That perforated peel will allow you to rake off any excess flour that's on the bottom of your dough before you
Yeah.
toss it in.
Yeah, Brian, check with Atlanta Grill Company and see which one is cheaper, the Alpha Peel or the GI Metals. I don't remember which one's cheaper, but I'd put them, equal as far as quality goes.
The Alpha is going to be cheaper, and the only quality difference between the two is the handles. The handles are a little more formidable on the GI metal, but the
Hmm.
GI metal is not designed where you can make it however long you want it.
Right.
The alpha handle is in pieces, so you can make it long or short just by adding segments, and those segments make it a little less formidable as it gets longer. But if you're dealing with a dojo, you don't need a long handle. You can get by with just one segment, whatever their shortest handle length option is on the 14-inch peel, and you'll be good to go. So, and I'm not familiar with anybody else. I don't know who else makes perforated peels right off the top of my head. I haven't shopped for them because GI Metal before Alpha came out with theirs, and I'm thinking GI Metal might actually make those for them, but I don't know. It's very possible they look a lot alike, but I've never compared them side by side. Jeff, have you had a GI Metal peel yet?
Yeah, I've got both of them. It's similar. The Alpha's got a little bit of a rounded lip on the edge, to keep kind of keep your pizza from sliding either way,
Right.
but the GI Steel doesn't.
Yeah, Brian, the 24-inch one will be fine. You just
Yep.
don't need a really long handle for the dojo. And I like the perforated peel. Janice, thanks for
Definitely get
joining
that
us
flour
tonight.
off.
Yeah, glad you could make it. Well, hopefully we'll get to talk about some chili next week. I'm actually becoming under the gun for some time issues with my programming class that I'm taking. I'm getting into some things that are quite difficult, and I've spent a lot of time this week on that as well. So, but the Python programming class is going well. I'm in over my head maybe. So
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
this this project that I've worked on this week has beat me to death. And
That's for the college, not the Udemy, right?
yes, it's the college class.
Yeah.
I've had to put the Udemy class on hold because I'm having to devote all of my free time just to staying above water on the college class at the moment. The projects that we're having there are difficult. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap up. We're gonna get done inside the 1 hour mark tonight. So I appreciate you
Cool.
coming and hanging out with us. Jeff, I hope things dry out a little bit because it's going to be wet here for the next 24 to 48 hours. The remnants of what you hit are coming our way, so we're going to get some of those nasty leftovers.
Well,
So,
hopefully by the time it gets to you, it's going to be nothing more than a bad storm.
well, I hope it's not bad. So, guys, y'all have a good week. Tanya,
Yep.
I'll be up momentarily. Jeff, thanks a bunch, and we'll see y'all
Hey,
next week.
have a good one.